just a few things before we get stuck into the charts. I'm thinking about doing this daily review of NQ using my strategy, which is the exhaustion, looking for liquidity moves, usually session highs or lows or previous day lows, even pivot points. But I thought it's probably a good idea to maybe take each day and review it just using the strategy. Obviously it's going to be in replay mode because we can't do it live. If I could trade live, I would actually. Problem is for me, I've got a day job, and so that prevents me trading live. I'm usually trading most days, but when I can trade, I pretty much trade my system. But what I would say is if I ever do get the chance to trade live, then I would suggest you follow and hit the notification bell, because if I do, it's going to be without warning and I'll just come on without even thinking about it. So yeah, make sure you like and follow. Anyway, today was a monster day on NASDAQ. There was a huge move. Now, if you followed my channel and you know a little bit about the way I trade, you may have been thinking, did we get caught out in that trade? Would have we? Here's the transparency. I never traded today. I couldn't trade today because I was working. However, it's still a way in which we could review the strategy and show what would have worked and what wouldn't. So without further ado, let's dive in. So like we always do, we start with the Asian range, right? We want to know where Asia's played the game. We've got pivot points. So here's R1. These are the center pivots, and here's S1. And so what are we waiting for? We're waiting for Asia's range to do its thing. Now, is just for some understanding, because of the way I trade with risk management, I'm always willing to take a trade in the exhausted areas if I'm using risk management, right, which is a relatively tight stop loss, $200. And you know, if I'm only trading one to three contracts, specifically in the earlier sessions, I'm not too bothered, so I will take a trade if it comes up. So let's dive in. So Asia's about to do its thing. We're gonna go 10x. Just let's play it out for a little bit. Let's get a bit of a groove on. So price looks like it wants to make a move to the upside. We're looking for that third standard deviation, right? Very close to a deviation here, but didn't come to the third standard deviation, so I would not have taken that trade. I want to see that third get hit, right? Let's go down to 3. Remember, there's 10 o'clock here, right? Let me just mark that off on the chart. Is really where I'm looking to trade, but let's just see. Let's forward this on a few beats. Now look, we're getting awfully close to that third standard deviation, right? But we've got 10 o'clock coming here. Now you may ask yourself, do I take a trade if we hit that third standard deviation, or do we have to wait until the session closes? I can't answer that. All I would say is, if you do take a trade and it's will and trade and you want to make a loss, it's an acceptable loss, right? It's hit that zone which is exhausted. Just know that, you know, more often than not, if we haven't taken a session liquidity, there's still a likelihood that the move will still go ahead and take it out. And so what I would always advise is, if you are going to take a trade at that third standard deviation prior to taking a session liquidity, just drive and fade your TP. Now my kind of TP style is letting the market tell me when to take profit, rather than, you know, doing it based upon a specific goal. I think it's just, there's no point doing that, because yes, you'll get stopped out a few times, but equally you can get some real bangers, right? And that's really what we're trying to find with these things. So no third standard deviation. Okay, we are approaching 10 o'clock, which is nice. Oh, market's starting to zip up a little bit. Still no third standard deviation hit. That's getting close. Third standard deviation hit. Okay, we're going to put a sell in. And like we did on the previous session, we're just going to put a $200 stop loss, because for me, we haven't taken the session liquidity. I'm not going to go too crazy, right? I want to, if anything, trail this down quite hard, because there's a high likelihood, if I'm trading this live, that I'm nervous about, you know, getting stopped out. So let's bang it on. Nice rejection. Okay, we're definitely going to want to... Actually, I'm going to go here simply because we have VWAP relatively close, and that's notorious for, you know, a reversal or where people take profits. I may have even taken that profit directly there, right, at $780 off one contract, London session. That's not bad, right? But we're still not at 10 o'clock yet, right? So, interesting. But now we've created a little bit of structure here. Typically I wouldn't bring it down here yet, simply because it's not enough of a pullback. But because we are entering that third, that we've just had a deviation of the VWAP, a lot of this, right, is context based. So you can't be rigid with this. You can't, you can have a rigid style, but with having a rigid style, sometimes you're going to miss those really good moves, or you could be giving back a lot of profit, right? But for the sake of it, because of the context of this one being that we're close to VWAP, I'm not going to take that chance. Oh, sorry, we've passed VWAP, okay? But if we go down again, okay, stopped out. So first one in the pocket, 630 to the upside, not bad. Okay. So let's continue on. Remember, we're really only now we're really interested in third standard deviation, because there's Asia's low. Asia and London are both giving us the high of the day, right? I'll just hit play. Go 10x, speed up a little bit. See, right now where it's in balance, I'm not interested in taking a trade. It's balance. It's not. I'm waiting for exhaustion, right? Where price gets that erratic. It's like going out with your mate who has 10 bevies and he's absolutely slaughtered, and you just don't know what he's going to do, right? So that's where I like to trade, where people are bladdered. Okay, price is starting to move down. Now remember, here's Asia. Asia's low here. We still have third standard deviation nicely in that pocket, which would be a nice trade to take. Let's go down to 3x. Let's slow this down a bit. Let's just go candle by candle, because if it takes it, we're diving in, right? Let's just mark. That's Asia's low. Not quite at third standard deviation yet, but we do have the top of the CPR, which is the pivot point. Okay, nice rejection. It's taken out Asia. Now I could have got in there. I may have got in there, and then had to been fading my candle here. I probably would have got in here now, right? So I'm going to hit buy one contract, $200. Okay, let's see how we do. Not looking good. Okay, we took a loss, but we're now at third standard deviation, so I'm absolutely going in. So we were at 670 because of the slippage on that. We're down to 220. Still in the green, but took a bit of a nosedive. Let's hit buy one contract. Let's give ourselves a $200 stop loss, and let's see what goes on. Okay, still in that territory, so we're not raising anything just yet. We want to see a clear break of here. I think I'll at least go to break even, right, just to cover ourselves. Okay, it's got to get past VWAP. Now, see, it's creating structure here, but it's not a pullback, right? So because where are we? Yeah, New York will have opened at this point, right? And so, you know, price could be skipping up, but I don't want to. I imagine this to be an area that gets taken. So you need to see a better structure, right? If we're gonna let the markets tell us where the TP is gonna be, then the market's gonna tell us. That for me is just one big straight move at the moment. There's no pullback, right? So we want to wait. If price is going to continue to the upside, we want a nice break. But again, we're at VWAP, so you know there'd be nothing wrong with putting that price there just to lock in profits. But because markets have opened up and we've already taken the low, I'm aiming for the fact that I think we'll probably take the high, right? Because we've already taken the low here, and price is starting to look bullish, right? So again, with a lot of this, there's no rhyme or reason, there's no rules. I'm just thinking extreme, and I'm going to let price dictate for me where profit will be made or sold, right? So price has come down and it's taken the low here, right? So that would have got us out of that trade. We'd have been in profit, don't get me wrong, that wouldn't have been a bad trade. But now, that could theoretically be our low, but we want to see this break that high, right, for market structure. So this is letting the market tell us, not the other way around. We're not saying, I'm going to take a 3-to-1 risk to reward ratio or a 2-to-1 or whatever. We're just flowing with the market, right? That's it. You need to see a high. Perfect. Okay, now I'm happy to drive this here because that's the low from that high. Well, this is the low from that high, and theoretically I could go there, right? But because we've broken that high from this leg, this is now my low, right? And now we're in nice profit. Wow. Okay, so here's where things switch up a bit now, right? Because now we are approaching third standard deviation, and I want to lock in profits. I don't want the price to come back on me now, because the likelihood and chance of price rejecting, remember, this is really exhausted price. I don't want to lose out on that, and so I'm bringing my TP to the natural. Now here would be, you know, down here would be different because we're at balance, right? So I'm gonna let it breathe when we're at balance, because there's a lot more room for it to grow. When we're at these exhausted regions, the balance starts to, you know, it's like an elastic band, right? It wants to come back, and so the tension on this has got high likelihood of reversing, and so I don't want to lose any profits with this, and so that's why I'm going to try to fade this sharp and often. Every time we create a bit of structure, I'm going to move it on up, and that's how we want to trade it, right? Could get stopped out. Okay, another leg up, broken that high. Ranging a little bit here. I know we've taken that high, but we are ranging, so I'm not going to bring it up to here just yet. Want it to be a clear break of structure to the upside, and then I'm confident. Okay, that looks good. I'm going to bring it up to the low. Actually, I'll bring it up to this one, because that was the move that started. Wow. Okay. Straight up here. Wow, okay. Let's just continue on. Some more structure created. If we create a new high, we know exactly where we're going to drive it to. Bottom of this candle here. And these moves, when these come about, they're lovely, right? Because you're in great profit, and you're just going to let the market tell us when it's time to get out, not the other way around, right? We're just in real cash city at this point, because it's so easy when we've got these type of trades. Okay. Where's the natural, where for you, without me telling you at this moment in time, where's the natural next leg that we bring our TP to? If you said it was here, you got it right. However, I'm going to bring it here, because this is the leg now that's created that low, and I feel that yes, price could come back there, but you know, that's good profit, right? And again, I'm trying to not lose as much, but this is such a strong move that I don't want to get out on a knee-jerk reaction when it could give me a lot more. And so we're going to keep going. Okay, next, there's the next break. Beautiful. We just continue to move up, and it just wants to keep on giving us something. Okay, fantastic. We'll just keep going up further, and we're just going to keep going like this, right? We're going to let it drive as high as we can. Now we've blasted through R3 pivot point. This is R4, right? Blasted through 20k, and the price is just going insane. Wow, next leg up. Fantastic. Guaranteed ourselves $6,267 profit at this moment in time. There's the next leg. Okay. Highly likely we get stopped out. Bang. So daily profit $6,435. Now you may look at this and think, well, it's easy in replay mode. It is, but the system's the system, right? And ultimately what we're doing here and every time is we are getting in the market when it presents an opportunity, which is to say when it's at that exhausted area, third standard deviation, right? Ideally, not always, but ideally if we've taken liquidity, because then that fuels the move for a much greater move. And when you could see it there, it was obvious, right? If you look, if we just replay this back here, right? How many times did we hit third standard deviation? Once here, right? Which fueled the move down to here for the second touch of that third standard deviation. However, with this one, we took out Asia's liquidity. Here, we didn't take out Asia's liquidity. In fact, that was Asia and London's liquidity. And so because we took out Asia's liquidity, this allowed us to really absolutely skip up the chart. I mean, it just went bananas, right? The key thing to consider in all of this is that we're letting the market tell us when to take profit. We're not just setting a random, you know, risk to reward. We're just letting it do its thing. Now, I know you probably say, yeah, but when you come to challenges or PA accounts, if it's Apex Trader Funding, it's not always as easy as that, because you've got to be mindful of drawdown. Absolutely spot on, and I would not I'm not going to discount that. It's key. But sometimes, you know, if you on the 250k accounts, let's just say, if you've got $6,500 now, that was on one contract, right? Just one single contract. If you imagine if you added to that, added another contract on each pullback, another contract on each pullback, that would have absolutely give you so much profit that, you know, you probably would have blasted your consistency rule. But equally, we shouldn't be trading with these mental blocks, right, where you're thinking too much about these kind of things, because over time, if you trade this way consistently, some days you're going to get absolute rippers like this. That would have been a 6.5k day. Some days you're going to get a few, maybe $600-700. Some days you might get a few paper cuts and you might not make much profit. Other days you might get 4k. You know, the idea here is that if you forget about the consistency rule and you don't really think about it too much, just trade your system and let the market give you what the market wants to give you, you'll catch up, because your balance will always rise over time. And once you get over that, well, on a 250k account, it is $6,600, you know, and then once you get above that value, the drawdown goes away, and so it just continues to rise with that. So my advice would be, you know, if you're going to trade this system, know two things. It's not rigid. I'm trading exhaustion, right? I'm looking for those outer reaches. I'm willing to take paper cuts, right? I'm willing to take $200 loss. If it continues to go on, I'm going to get back in. So over time, I would suggest that my winning days, like a day like today, is going to outweigh my losing days. If you watch yesterday's video, you will see even when we took a lot of losses, we actually turned out to be a nice profitable day, which would have been about, I think, $1,400. So even on days like this, the system is really well worked. There's no ICT, no order blocks, no fair value gaps. I mean, you guys may look at this and think, actually, I can make this system even better because I'm going to use things like that. Be my guest. But if you're interested, I'm thinking about doing this daily, right? Like a daily review vlog. This system, you know my system, you know how I trade. And if you want me to do that and you think it's got value, I will do it, warts and all, and I will go through each trade dogmatically where I would take a trade. If I take a loss, I will take a loss. It's only in replay mode, I don't mind that. I can't trade live, unfortunately, because I have a day job. But sometimes if I get the chance, I certainly will. My server's open, Discord server. I don't know how long for. I'm probably going to close it down at some point, because we have a really good group of people in there, and I want to keep it kind of niche. But if that sounds like a bit of you, come and join. Like, subscribe, share, all the rest of it, and I will see you guys in the next one.